The Art of Being Ruled. Wyndham Lewis. Original publication 1926. 1989 edition. Narrated by Skeptical Waves. Part 12. The Intellectual. Chapter 1. The Hypnotism of the Anti-Intellectual Fashion. When Peggy says, Je ne suis pas un intellectual, qui descend condescend quand il parle au peuple, you know what he means. The noble sincerity that marked all he said and did is our guarantee. He is not a great personage, a bourgeois, condescending when he speaks to the plain man. If it were almost anybody else saying that, it would be necessary to see whether this were not the usual publicists or demagogues' maneuver to prejudice the people, their lucrative clients, against another leader, whom that seemed the best way of attacking. He would probably be saying, he, the rival, is a highbrow, he comes to you from École Normale, or Oxford or Harvard. He does not speak your language. His voice is that of the hated aristocrat in reality. Do not listen to him, he will betray you, or at the best condescend to you. Listen to me, I am one of you. I have worked in a mine, or driven a train, or can meet. But Peggy himself was by no means secure. His cahiers were attacked repeatedly on the ground of their dilettantism, as can be seen, for instance, in the piece entitled Pour moi, Ouvres Completes, Volume 2. He was dealing in literature and forgetting the social revolution. He was a normalian, an amuser, a dilettante, and so on. Yet he was of the most irreproachable peasant stock, and by nature ideally aggressive. He was installed in the midst of a mass of quarrels. The hatred he provoked on all sides was the result of his aggressively simple sincerity, that is quite easy to appreciate at this distance. His stiffness and straightness caused endless dislocation in the smooth, that is, the crooked, running of life. So a hubbub arose wherever he appeared. There was something Rousseau-like in his situation, one in which he had the entire world against him, though of course on a different scale. But I think also that the reasons for it cannot be sought in any particular similarity between Jean-Jacques and himself. But although by no means immune from criticism on the score of his academic accomplishments and love for letters, Peggy shared his adversaries, or colleagues, as they of course also were, dislike of the intellectual. In La Chanson du Roi Dagobert he gives an eloquent expression to this. Eloi, j'ai connu des hommes qui ne te ressemblent pas. Heureusement qu'il y a deux races d'hommes. Et j'ai connu la deuxième race des hommes. J'ai connu des hommes qui ne connaissent pas par les livres. J'ai connu les hommes qui connaissent les réalités. Eloi, I have known men who do not resemble thee. Happily there are two races of men. And I have known the second race of men. I have known men who did not know things through books. I have known men who knew realities. Like another very learned man, Descartes, he recommended and praised the tabula rasa. Even Montaigne was on the side of the ignorant, que c'est un mol chevet, pour une tête bien faite, que l'ignorance et l'incuriosité. But of course all learned men prefer ignorant people, but scarcely for the flattering reasons that they pretend. But to know the stream of Vuzy, rather than the bulging, buzzing name of Vuzy, was a capital part of Peggy's philosophy, which took its color, as did that of Sorel, from Bergsonism and its vital flux. And perhaps, without knowing it, they were fouling their own nest to order. The orders perhaps came through channels they had not charted, from the very sources against which their revolutionary rage was directed. This question, that of the credentials of the intelligence, of the intellectual, is such an important one that I will devote a few more pages to elucidating it. Such intellectuals as Sorel, Peggy, or Berth, to take no others, were hypnotized to strike at themselves. Their clamor against the mind, of which they possessed a fair share, was the result, I think, of an enchantment. The war of the highbrow and the lowbrow, with which we have already dealt at some length, is a very important class war indeed for the world at large. In killing the intellect, or its trained servants, men would certainly be killing the goose that lays the golden eggs, not the eggs of mammon, which are devoured only at the tables of the millionaire world, but the more universally valuable eggs of intelligent endeavor. It is worth pausing to think whether this war is a very sensible one. Bergson was one of the principal administrative figures in its earlier stages. Poor Peggy was, I am afraid, a hallucinated victim, rather.